Hello everybody. I recently watched the Netflix documentary Fyre, and I'd like to share my thoughts on it. Fyre chronicles the goings-on behind the scenes of a would-be music festival turned giant scam that happened a couple years back. Now, I didn't hear about this until a coworker told me about it at work, and it seemed kind of fascinating, so I gave it a watch. And I was surprised because I had never heard of this before, the Fyre Festival. Apparently it was a gigantic thing, or at least the documentary makes it seem like it. But just 2 years ago, I don't remember one thing about it, hearing anything about it. So it's the documentaries about things that I know next to nothing about are always the things I'm most fascinated about. And for that reason, I found this documentary pretty enlightening and very interesting. This is coming off the heels of I just watched the Ted Bundy 4-part miniseries documentary on Netflix. So I was kind of in that mind of like people being deceptive and hiding something. And this was like the other side of that coin, where Ted Bundy was kind of like the super violent offender, but he was very deceptive, very manipulative, and hid his bad deeds well. And this is kind of the same thing on a more fraudulent end of the spectrum, or instead of violent crimes, it's money laundering and fraud and scamming thousands of people out of thousands and thousands of dollars to make a profit. So it's interesting seeing the similar mindset, but just in a guy that had different means and different ends, but still the same kind of sociopathic mindset, or it was just it was interesting. I'm fascinated by this stuff. People that have different ticks, different from the masses. And not that I admire either of those psychopaths, but it's just fascinating to me that people can have those drastic different ticks. But you can see like shades of the guy in this Fyre documentary, Billy McFarland, the guy behind the festival. You can see shades of stuff in my own life on very, very much smaller levels, where I can kind of understand him. You know, where you like get into things too much over your head, but you're like too far in it to back out, so you just commit. And I got little things in my life that have done that, and have ended up being embarrassing maybe, but he does the same thing on such a grand scale and screws so many people over, that it's just interesting to me that that same sort of thing can happen to this guy, but he just commits to it harder than anyone ever has. And it's horrible. It's horrible. The documentary, it's very in-depth. It kind of starts in the planning stage of when these guys decided to throw this giant music festival, and then just follows the timeline all the way up to the festival itself and the few months afterwards. And it's 100 minutes of them getting into the nitty-gritty of it all. So it does a good job. It does a good job in getting you into this guy's mind, or at least trying to, as best it can. And it's just despicable what he did. And the documentary really mines this juicy information to give you as much as it can, to give you any kind of insight into this guy and how far he went, just the depths of his fraudulent behavior. It's just unbelievable. You can't believe he would go to the lengths he does. And they kind of go into why they think. I mean, they don't have an interview with the guy. They don't have any real answers about why he did it, but they speculate that it's because he wants to get a little piece of the high life. You know, he sees the music videos and the celebrities living the high life, and he's not going to stop until he gets to be able to be there on that level with them. So it kind of tries to do that, but then it also, and I found this most interesting and pretty ballsy, to be honest, they also take a dig at the victims a little bit. And, you know, just the culture that a lot of millennials will shell out thousands of dollars to go to a music festival. I mean, yeah, it's on a tropical island, and the promo video for the festival makes it look awesome. But having that kind of money to blow on a questionable music festival, and just the gullibility of some people buying into these scams. And then after this whole thing blows over, the Billy McFarland and company try to scam these same people again, and they make like $100,000 off the same people that got scammed at a Fyre festival. So, you know, while it doesn't completely condemn the victims, it's villainizes Billy McFarland, and rightly so. But it doesn't let the victims off the hook. Like, why are you buying into this sort of stuff? So I find that stuff kind of interesting when documentaries aren't completely biased, or at least they ask bigger questions and they don't just go straight for the kill shot. And I just appreciate when documentaries dig a little bit deeper and ask questions that are maybe a little taboo to ask. It's just a lot of documentaries are shallow and, all right, here's this terrible person. Let's just tell you how terrible they are, and it might be interesting, but I don't know. I like documentaries that ask bigger questions, like this one does. And I'm personally not a part of the culture that the kids that bought into the scam. I'm not. That's not me. So it also feeds into me just not understanding, and documentaries about things I don't understand are the ones I like the most. So it was just a really fascinating watch. So I'd recommend it if you're in the similar kind of boat. If you're not exactly sure what Fyre Festival was or what happened a couple years ago, I would definitely give it a watch. It's pretty interesting. So yeah, to me, fascinating subject matter, well told, technically very good. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I liked it a lot and would recommend it if you're into those sort of things, the true crime stories. That piques your interest, definitely check it out. But that's all I have. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.